Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Caprelli. Welcome to another Jazz Talk edition. I have my friend, teacher, Pam Quevedo with us.
Hello there.
And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Greg Kuzma. Greg, tell us about you, your short story, because you've got a very long, impressive resume.
Right. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I started off in my career doing music back in grade school. I had a very good and influential teacher who got me excited about playing music. And as I got into junior high and high school, I started learning the trumpet and the French horn and the trombone. And as I got into college, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up. I had two choices. I could continue with my music education and become a music teacher, or I could follow in my father's footsteps and join the military. So about halfway through college, I realized I could do both. So I got my commission. I became a second lieutenant in the Air Force. That was back in 1998. And all the way through the last 22 years or so, while I've done my Air Force job as a logistics officer, I have also, after work or on the weekends, worked with high school and junior high band programs and was able to be a part-time teacher all through those years. And the last 5 years, I have been working with Ascend Performing Arts here in Denver, Colorado. And I was a performer with one of their ensembles called the Blue Knights back in 1994. I played mellophone. And the last 5 years, I've been their director of communications and their chief operating officer. And so now I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm an Air Force reservist, so I do military part-time. And my full-time job is to work with Ascend Performing Arts and help out in our four mission areas, which is education, ensembles, events like marching band shows, and entertainment. I have two stepsons, Finn and Soren. They're 9 and 6 years old. They play a little bit of guitar and a little piano. And then we have a 2-year-old daughter. Her name is Arwen. The good thing is all three of our children are excited about music. And I'm glad to see that because my wife and I, we're involved with music. And that is a big part of who we are.
Because you are so musically inclined, how would you inspire kids that want to play an instrument, but they think they can't?
There were times when I was growing up, particularly in junior high and high school, when I was learning to play the French horn, that there were times where I didn't think I could do it. It took a lot of practice and a lot of encouragement from my mother and father to keep me focused on practicing and to keep doing it. And so my advice would be to realize that music's not easy, but if it's something that it makes you happy and you're excited about, like I am, I would definitely continue to keep trying. And if there is someone who makes music that you look up to or that you like, if you can, talk to them or watch them play, watch them make music, and see if you can emulate how they do that. Part of the reason why I enjoy music so much is because not only are you connecting and sort of syncing up your performance with those around you, whether you're in an orchestra or a marching band or a drum and bugle corps, but that you are communicating music and how you feel through your instrument or through your voice and to an audience. Make those memories with music, with the people that you enjoy spending time with, to be a special thing. And so my wife, she played the cello. I played the French horn. Now, they're not the same instrument, but when we, in our respective groups, we played music, we have something in common. And that was something that when we first met, that we talked about a lot. And so we have a bond through music, and we're forming that bond with our children now.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of this information of your life and your music. And I'm fascinated by everything that you just said. It reminds me of yesterday during the day and last night, I was putting together a blog post encouraging families to help their children to practice mindfulness. And one of the things that I suggested was working with the children and with them creating playlists. So what would you recommend for children, for maybe if they're feeling a little bit anxiety or maybe not their best selves, how could they find music that can maybe help them?
I would say I have a two-part response to that. The first one is that we don't formally talk about mindfulness, but it is something in our house that we're aware of. That there are types of music that get us excited, get us pumped up, and there's also music that calms us down and gets us balanced and centered. So in the mornings when the kids get up, we all get up, we're making breakfast. We like to put on music that is upbeat and happy. We usually have the kids pick the song, and they take turns picking the music that they enjoy. And then in the evenings when it's time for bed, and I like to put on classical piano playlist personally for the kids, particularly with Arwen, our 2-year-old. And that helps get them to relax and to help them go to sleep. The second
I'm going to go to your house.
Yeah. And the second part of that is talking about the types of music with our kids.
Okay. What is something that you would tell your younger self looking back?
I would say to take more time to enjoy learning how to play the French horn and not get so frustrated when I didn't play the right note every single time, or if I cracked a note or I didn't play the music right. I was very hard on myself. If you mess up, it's okay. Some people call that jazz, and some people really like that. And if you do mess up, you just take a break and take a step back and try again, and look for the emotional connection with it and have fun with what you're doing.
What are your thoughts on kids embracing boredom?
Well, there are times where our kids will say, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, even though there's lots of things that they could do.
Especially in today's age, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We try to come up with different creative ways to get engaged with an activity that doesn't necessarily have to be watching a video game or a movie.
Okay, so I personally feel that when children are bored, that is a good thing. And I think that children need to be bored. If you're constantly giving them, like you're saying, you're giving the kids so many suggestions, and we all do that because we want to help our children. But I strongly feel, and I wrote about it in Educate the Heart, and I spoke about boredom a great deal. I feel that children need to be left alone. Let them be frustrated, sad, mad, whatever, because then they will discover what they truly want to do. And they will come up with something. Like, they're not going to just get a box from the recycle and then make a robot out of it and do it on their own if you're constantly telling them, do this, do that. But
Right.
I see it with my own children in the classroom, and I see it with my children at home, that they need to be bored. Like, for example, my son, for example, he has a strong interest in cooking and baking and all of that stuff, and he likes a lot of make-believe. So if I would not be like, as a suggestion, well, what about if you just make your own food out of cardboard and open up a restaurant? But like, he did that on his own. It's a different thing when you think of it on your own because you want to do it than if you tell. I always encourage the children, use your imagination, and I give them this. They have supplies. They know that they should be creative, and writing is always a good thing. Get your ideas down. But even if it's not something like a creative making thing, it could be like a song or singing or just really anything in the world, because every child is different. But I don't think that people in general can really know who they are, what their talents are, what they can do if they're not given the opportunity to be bored. Even myself as a grown-up, I need that time in between projects to not have anything at all to think about.
Right.
I cannot like think. I need to be inspired. Like, I would have never been doing the mindfulness blog post yesterday if I wasn't on the 2 days before that, like just like living and just thinking and letting it kind of like read out. And then it just came to me. Like and no one said to me, well, on this day, you're going to write about this. It makes authentic what you're doing. And it also makes the children authentic. They're doing what they want to do because they thought of it themselves.
And
That's great.
And on that note, yes. And then we're all different. And sometimes you think as a parent or as a teacher that whatever you like, your kids are going to like.
So adding to that, there are children who really, really love music. And so they might have this free time and not something directed to do, but they know they love music, but they might need some direction in how to channel that love of music. What would you suggest without like a directed activity, but how can they explore their musical interest, especially if they don't have these weekly lessons with a coach, and if they don't have music class in school, if they don't have that formal instruction, how can they practice music? How can they enjoy it when they're bored because they love music?
Well, yeah, I mean, technology gives us the tools and opportunities to find more ways to create music than just going to school,
right?
And having an hour set aside to learn how to play an instrument.
Yes. So in our group, Educate the Heart Collective, this is what we formed the group for. We formed it so that we could connect and learn from each other and gain the experiences gained from the wisdom. And people like you are what we need to pull our group together. So we would love it if you would interact, engage in our regular post that we do, but also feel free to like send a video, write a post, something that can help people to learn from you, be inspired by you, and also you'll connect with them too. Our main goal is to build strong children, but we can't build strong children if we're not strong ourselves.
My kids are definitely engaged with the show and all the things that you're doing, all the hard work you're putting into it.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you, Greg, Pam, Jennifer. I'm glad we got some good points out of this.
This was so fun.
But thank you for just jumping on and having 3 women interview you.
I had a good time. Thank you. It was nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Good luck to you on this whole production thing. I'm very excited for you. Especially knowing Lisa for so long and all the great things that she has done through the years. I'm really excited about this one because it really integrates the music piece. Something that I'm passionate about.
And we love it because we're not expert musicians like you are.
No matter what the world is like, kids need to be built up. We need to grow strong children, no matter what.
We're all in this together.
We sure are.